And then eventually you will be doing a one-on-one with the President of the United States.
Before you know it, me, Mitch McConnell, Chernobyl. Welcome to another episode from the Psychic Dolphin Garage. You're listening to the pilot episode of a new segment that is called 15 Million Flowers. It's a derivative humor based on our pop culture taste and hopefully sets the bar low enough for you to stay for the whole thing. This episode is especially exciting for me as it is supplementing the audio issues that we encountered on the main segment. In the future, we hope that this segment turns into a place where we can explore interesting ideas with more interesting people than ourselves and really give everyone something to disagree with us on or learn from. But I'll tell you more about that later. Today, we're going to be discussing the 2020 presidential runoff as we approach the first Democratic debate. So with me today I have Kelton.
Hey guys, how's it going?
You're our first guest on this series.
Yeah, I like it. You know, you're going to have a lot more qualified and intellectual people. But I was available on this Thursday night, so as I'm watching the NBA draft occur, we're going to be talking about serious issues, you know?
Yeah, so that Iran thing. Oh my God, they drafted who?
Why the fuck would the Hawks accept that trade? That's what I'm saying right now. You give away so much of your future, and you're essentially just swapping first and second round picks 2 years from now. Sorry. Okay.
This is basically as important as who the next president of the United States is.
Certainly get some more followers on Twitter, I'm sure.
Yeah, you don't see anybody live tweeting the president's speeches now that the Krasenstein bros are gone.
There's a dark void that once haunted the world. Did you see that those guys are now using alt accounts and posting on Chapo Trap House, by the way?
Oh, God, that's the worst. I was not aware, but that is the darkest timeline.
It truly is. So get off of Chapo Trap House, join Dank Left or Chapo Trap House 2. You know, I'm more popular on those subreddits anyway, so, you know, I have my own biases as I'm trying to stage a coup. Me and the grouchy socialist commie otter, bro. So let's do it.
So Krasenstein's like, yeah, we were real bad at being shitlibs, but for some reason, being a commie came naturally. Them reposting memes from Eat the Rich.
Oh, yeah.
Back
absolutely.
to Reddit.
I won't be saying any of the admins that we know on Eat the Rich, but I'm sure they would love the fact that the Krasensteins are their fans. I'm sure it wouldn't grind on them insanely.
Wake up in the morning, drink my water, think about the Krasenstein brothers stealing, appropriating my memes.
Spitting out vodka somehow, wondering what the fuck happened.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, Kelton.
No problem. What are we talking about today?
Today we're going to be talking about something near and dear to my heart, something that both of us can discuss at length and in great detail, and that is going to be the upcoming Democratic presidential debate.
I mean, I was really hoping you were going to check out, you know, my screenplay that I had written, but it's okay. Yeah, we can talk about this too. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, the good news is that I'm going to tie this into something else that you know and love. We're not going to just discuss the debate and the outcomes. We're going to set up all of the candidates in a bracket style and do a runoff here on the show live.
Okay. So are we going to do it like March Madness, or are we going to do it like, I don't know. Like the World Cup. That could work.
I had this thing that was happening, and I thought that, you might appreciate that I was taking the thing that was happening and then working it into our pop culture podcast of the week.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
in
man after my own heart.
Yeah, celebration of the Women's World Cup. We're going to do World Cup style brackets.
Yeah, I don't know why we gotta celebrate the Women's World Cup though. What about the Men's World Cup, Zach? Huh?
You know,
How about we have one of those?
I would have a snappy, witty comeback, but I don't know when the fuck that happens. So,
And I wish I could keep this bit up, but I honestly don't know either. Because the men's team sucks, so we don't care about them. Okay, so if we're going to do a World Cup style bracket, I guess that makes sense, though, because then we can slate them into different categories. So
yeah. I'm not going to do 5. I'm going to do 4 categories.
Okay. So then, as I'm sure people are aware, the upcoming 2020 debate is going to feature 20 candidates. I believe there are 24 total candidates, but 20 of them qualified. And so those 20 getting put into 4 different categories, that would mean that then 5 each, if my math is correct on that.
Yes, then we're going to put 5 in each one.
Never trust a
which
Common Core.
I think will be, which I think is an interesting way to do it, because it means that as we try to sort them into their houses, into their Harry Potter houses, there's going to be at least one person in each bracket that's like odd one out, that doesn't have a direct counterpart, but fits into the overall theme of their house.
Okay. Well, I guess to do breakdowns of it, let's try and, I guess, separate them out, and then we'll talk about them, I guess, as we've separated them. So
yeah,
we'll come up with 5 into a group, and then we'll move on from there.
So for Hufflepuff, we have our spoilers group.
Fuck these people. The wasted 5, the people who are in it just because they're
the 5 other white straight men who are running.
Oh, come on. No, for diversity's sake, we have to include a white straight woman, Zach. It's important.
How many women are
girl power.
How many women are there? There's 6? Maybe there's only 5.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess on the spoilers, what we're dealing with here is a bunch of mediocrity. These people are only going to serve as people who steal votes away from other quote-unquote qualified candidates, who could play spoiler to like a progressive Democrat or a corporate Democrat or the goddamn wild cards themselves. But these are all just kind of mediocrity. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody who's not popular, who doesn't have any clout, and somebody who doesn't have any name recognition either, but is still running on the same platform as a Biden Buttigieg.
The confidence of the mediocre white man. Who will you draft into the first slot, Zach?
I'm going to put John Delaney as the head of our Hufflepuff house. He was the guy who got famous for being booed when he said we're against I think it was universal healthcare, where there's exactly what he's like, we're against universal healthcare, and the whole town hall was like,
why are you booing me? Stop booing me. No, I'm on your side.
Jeb Bushed it. He's like, please don't boo.
Yeah. I mean, at least from what I know about him, he constantly is calling for unity and running towards the middle. And the thing that it seems like every candidate now is in favor of is universal pre-K, which, as a relatively new father, totally love that idea. But you don't get any bonus points when you are running on an idea that everyone else has. Like, you need to keep pushing the envelope slightly. It's not going to work. He had a couple of cool things, like a 27% corporate tax rate. Now, he hasn't talked about closing any of the tax loopholes that then, make corporations pay as little as they actually do. But, I guess it's okay overall. He's just a loser. So I'm not going to pay attention to him. Fuck that guy.
That's what I expect from a venture capitalist that is now a representative in Congress, just getting his retirement paycheck.
Well, if we're going to do spoilers, I have my guy that I'm going to pick.
Okay.
in my draft, and that's the mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio. 76% of people say that they don't want him to run for president. He's polling up around 40% in his own city in terms of approval of how he's currently doing. And he's now deciding, fuck it, I'm going to pull a Giuliani for some weird reason.
God.
I mean, he doesn't have any platforms released. He just says the generic lines. It seems like that he's overheard while walking the halls. Like, oh, I want higher taxes on the rich, universal pre-K, higher minimum wage. Yeah, that's cool. But he's doing all of that while then enforcing stop and frisk. So I think he's just using this as entirely a PR move.
Wait, you're telling me he's running in the Democratic candidate?
Yeah. It's believe it or not.
Stop and frisk. Democratic policies. Well, I mean, Harris is also running, so I guess it's okay.
Hell yes. I'm going to put... No, she's a legitimate candidate. Let's move on to the next guy. Yeah. Or girl.
Yeah, the next... We're not gonna draft a woman here yet. I'm going to put... Gotta stand for Representative Eric Swalwell. Swalwell. He's got the Alex Jones...
brain force. Thick neck. All-American. Corned beef. Help me. I'm going to get a heart attack by 60 and die.
Yeah, he's been buying into that really well. That and gold. So I guess he listens to Rush Limbaugh as well. He's like he's pro-gun, but he wants gun control. So he's not one of the I'm anti every gun. He's just running on like, oh, we want sensible gun control, which is such a tired line now. It's not 2016 anymore.
Well, he also, if I think I'm remembering this correctly, he's doing another thing about where he is pushing, instead of Medicare for all, like Sanders and Warren and other people are doing, he's pushing the idea of health care for all. Like, oh, we want affordable access for everyone. Not even a government option. He just wants to make sure that, like the senior citizens he's hoping to get to vote for him don't die because they can't afford their prescriptions because Medicaid has had their budget slashed.
I'm so glad that he's pulling the Jon Stewart plan out of his back pocket. He's like, hey, what if we didn't do universal health care, but we did health care for all?
Think about the troops.
If these emergency first responders deserve health care, then so do our senior citizens, huh?
He's also the Russiagate freak. Like, he's always on MSNBC or I think even like occasionally like Fox Business and stuff like that, just pounding away on Russia. And that's kind of at least his main name recognition, or at least I would think.
My grandpa, who's Gravel? I can't believe that we might elect one of those Russia freaks like Swalwell into office. No.
You know what, Grandpa? If it gets you to vote for Gravel, not Gravel, fine, do it. Well, Zach, because I'm more progressive than you, I am going to draft our first woman as a spoiler, pointless, non-essential candidate. Because I'm that big of a feminist. I think that those shit-lib candidates who are women can also take up unnecessary space on the political stage. That's why I am going to go with Amy Klobuchar. Yeah, Ooh. That's right. No, I mean, Klobuchar is a small ball moderate. She promises, she calls them pragmatic moves, but in reality, they're just half measures. Like, she says, yeah, okay, free community college, but not university. A government option for healthcare, but not Medicare for all. She does have one cool idea, and that's statehood for Washington, D.C. So, if the people who live there had a right to vote, they probably would vote for her. But they don't, so fuck those people.
The same way that Puerto Rico, can vote, but isn't really a real place.
Yeah. It's not a real country, except
it's
the United States. They're Americans.
Yeah, she really does belong in the spoilers because she doesn't even have defined positions. She's just kind of like, yeah, some of this stuff that we could improve on with like these ideas that I have that are interesting.
They really seem like numbers that she kind of came up with. Like, we need to fix our infrastructure. I don't know, $1 trillion to that? Okay. And $100 billion to mental health. What about that? I think that must have come from like one of her therapy sessions, because she's most well known for throwing binders at staffers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, she's a tough boss to work for, but you know it's worth it." Which in DC insider politician speak, if you're known as a tough boss, good lord, you have to be a pain to work with. Not to perpetuate the like strong independent woman equals crazy bitch whatever type thing, but like she legitimately seems to not exactly be there for anything other than a like, oh yeah, how about me for Secretary of State? I'm from Minnesota after all.
She's the one that always stands up and raises her hand, but nobody actually wants to give it to her, so they have to like, quick, who do we pick? Anyone, Biden.
That's what they go for. All right, so we got 4 people down.
We have one last one.
Who's it gonna be?
Really tempted to put Inslee in here, but
ooh.
I mean, he has some interesting. He is at least something interesting. And not just rehashed Ted Cruz tweets from 2014.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to go with Michael Bennet, the Colorado senator.
Fantastic. The man whose name isn't spelled the way you think it is. I want you to think of Bonnet, but with an extra E in it. Or an E where the O is, rather. My point is that Bennett has 2 T's in it, if you truly are an American. And not a Russian spy. Oh my God, it's Eric Swalwell.
Did you say Russian spy? Let me tell you something.
Just beating the shit out of him.
America is under attack.
I agree.
It's the Rick and Morty. It's that Rick and Morty scene where Rick busts in super drunk late at night, but it's Eric Swalwell and his son.
So who is Michael Bennet for the people who are unaware?
Michael Bennet is a more openly cucked version of Ted Cruz.
Ooh.
Who is trying to run on progressive platforms. I think his best policy that he stated is he wants 0 greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. Hasn't really given us any meat on that issue. He wants to repeal Citizens United and ban members of Congress from becoming lobbyists.
Okay.
Which,
well, I mean, that's not awful.
It's not awful. The problem is that his healthcare stance, he's against Medicare for all.
Damn.
And his option is apparently called Medicare X.
For extreme. We're in the 90s.
He has Devo open up for him. That's his walkout song.
I've never seen so much Capri Sun and Go-Gurt sold at a concert before. He's part of the Gang of 8, right? He's part of like the group of 4 Democrats who work with the 4 Republicans. They're like, hey, everybody, look, unity, it works. That like McCain, Lindsey Graham, Schumer, Rubio, all those guys.
The Gang of 8 is a fitting term for somebody who would die in a Quentin Tarantino film.
It really is a much cooler name than like the actual people that are there, you know?
What happened to them? One of them died of cancer.
Aww. Well, I really hope it's not Bennett, because if I remember correctly, he like is recovering from prostate cancer.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, we got the spoilers down, and we'll recap them in a minute, but we gotta start busting through these people real quick.
This will be the corporate Dems. They'll be Gryffindor. right, so are we putting Biden into the corporate slot?
Let's put a feather in that cap because there are a bunch of fucking corporate ones. So let's just
The entire last one was
see.
corporate ones too.
Okay, but these are corporate ones that theoretically matter, at least.
True. True. So now we gotta. I guess we'll keep Biden pinned.
Yeah.
Because I guess we have an idea for him. You have an idea for him.
Zaddy.
Pin him down.
All right. I got ideas for him.
So I guess if Biden is not going to be in here, then we got to put Booker in here because Booker is just little Biden.
Yeah. I mean, he is trying to pitch himself as like, hey, I'm Obama, but then O'Rourke fucking came in and took all that cool dad energy from him. But on the plus side, like, Cory Booker has such a weird life, man. Like, in any other world, he would be a really awesome guy, except he shot himself in the foot. And by really cool, I mean like a success story that we would hear on Lifetime or some shit.
Yep.
Because, like, he started off as a mayor of Newark, New Jersey, and he, rose his way up to that. Then after that, he then became a senator. He's currently dating Rosario Dawson, and, he had a made-up childhood friend named T-Bone, who is apparently like a street thug. And he would use it to try and give himself some cred while walking around with khakis and, laced in fucking lame shoes.
So what you're saying is he looked like me when my mother used to dress me.
Yeah, but with my body type.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Well,
it's real sad.
I think that Booker's had a good week. I think his stock is up. His clout is on the rise.
That's right.
In the Facebook's market, he's worth a lot more than he was last week, especially after his Juneteenth spat with Biden.
That is truly the coolest thing he's ever done. I mean, like, he wants to abolish mandatory minimums and legalize weed, but again, in this field, who the fuck doesn't? Well, I mean, maybe except Biden. But he also wants to ban assault weapons and create a federal gun licensing program. So, I mean, like, that is the most run-of-the-mill neo-lib. He's actually pushing for expanding the Affordable Care Act. He's one of those health care for all type freaks.
Oh, health care for all. Okay, so taking the thing that wasn't just single payer and then trying to get it back after Trump took it out. Yeah, Trump did all the work. He repealed it. Now all you got to do is get in there and put something better in place. It's not that hard.
Exactly. The sleeper cell agent.
Yeah, so the person that's going to be taking votes from Cory is Kamala Harris. That's his main opposition. She's going in this heat as well.
Yeah, she's got to. She's formerly known as the top cop in California.
And we don't mean the best cop. We just mean the cop on
who
top.
Tops.
Oh.
What?
Yikes.
Sorry.
Yeah, she has a very rocky history and a very bad habit of trying to defend that rocky history in very problematic ways.
But remember, she smoked weed while Snoop Dogg was on the radio somehow.
Yeah.
13 years before he actually had his first single.
My dad brought me home CDs. You were born before CDs existed? I don't understand. So, some of her good things. Is there anything good?
She wants to raise teacher pay.
That's good. In the U.S. or in California?
Well, I mean, I think everywhere, but actually lower in California, higher everywhere else. It's very weird.
California.
She wants to raise it by like $13,000 or so.
Criminals don't deserve an education. Jesus, Kim.
And then her healthcare plan is one of those, like, it needs to be affordable. And so the tier is single payer Medicare for all. Then you have, the government option, which is expanded Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, etc. style. Then you have the next one, which is healthcare for all, making sure everyone has a right and access to affordable health care. And then you, at the bottom of the barrel, you have just like oh yeah, let's return back to what Obamacare was. Like, and that type of shit. So she's not like the worst level, but she's barely a step above. She's basically like the Comcast internet of government options. Because like there are worse ones. You could be with like Charter
Spectrum.
or Suddenlink, Spectrum. Jesus Christ! But she would be totally fine with running and winning, being VP. I'm sure she would love, or being put as the Attorney General of the United
horrible.
States.
That would be
She would
worse
be the
than...
top cop in the land.
Uh-huh. What does that mean? I get to top all the other cops? No, Kamala, stop.
What? Hold on. You've won the Kelton vote for a second.
Oh no. All right. So we had to pick next. Who else is gonna be on brand with Booker and Harris? Who are we gonna put in a heat with them that is not quite as useless as our spoilers? Not quite as
well. Again, as the feminist icon that I am,
I've already beaten you to the punch in this one.
Well, 1-to-1, slow your roll. I would like to elect another woman because, as a feminist, I enjoy pitting two women against each other.
Yes, that's what feminism is about.
That's what equality, yeah.
Making sure that we can equally compete in the marketplace of ideas.
And it's got to be Kirsten Gillibrand. I mean, she's that Wall Street funded #feminist that really got some positive clout moving up through the #MeToo movement. She wants to protect women's reproductive rights and says she's only going to be, nominating Supreme Court justices that are upholding Roe v. Wade. She wants to enact a family bill of rights to help provide financial care for parents, to use towards care, paid family leave, and helping stop, LGBTQ persecution.
She wants to replace GoFundMe.
Yeah, I mean, as insane as that is, to the point that she even is willing to do some insane plan. I haven't looked into this because it seems ridiculous, like Facebook's. But democracy dollars?
Oh, hell yeah. The federal government has its first cryptocurrency.
No, that's the freedom dividend. Because if we think that Andrew Yang's UBI isn't coming in the form of crypto, we are long mistaken. But she does have this really awful history of being anti-immigration because she's a well-off white lady from New York.
Oh.
And then now she's done a 180 because she's like, oh, my eyes are open. Oh, man.
Who could have guessed? Well, her and Harris should get along just fine then.
But Harris is better in every way. So
yeah. Well, yeah.
But
even though Harris doesn't have any actual policy positions, that works better for her because none of them are as bad as Gillibrand's.
Listen, and I'm going to say this because the analytics just show it. California is better than New York. We have 12 downloads from California and 7 from New York. Step up your fucking game, people.
Speaking of useless politicians with not horrible policy positions, Tim Ryan from Ohio. I'm surprised Tim Kaine isn't running again this year, but...
Yes, we Kane. It's right there.
Oh. Well, he sure is trying.
Yeah.
Tim Ryan is running the George W. Bush strategy where he wants to win over rural voters. He really wants to get into that see, I'm progressive, so the same way that all you farmers hate getting beat over the head by these Trump tariffs.
Now, do you like jobs? Do you hate the Chinese? Well, guess what? Tim Ryan is the man for you.
Yep. His entire policy position is that we have to beat China at manufacturing, at automotive, solar, and wind power, and that we have to improve our education system. His education reform is interesting.
Yeah, he wants to what was it? The social and emotional learning class?
Yeah, so
something?
he's gonna bring sex education classes to the American schoolroom.
I cannot imagine some overweight gym teacher telling me to get more in touch with my feelings.
It's your overweight gym teacher going on a rant about Hegelian archetypes and how you are the one that is not putting the effort in to see yourself and others.
And why that is what happens with body dysmorphia. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Mr. Charles. That's cool. I'm gonna go hang myself in the locker room now.
Tim Ryan is actually up there. He wants Medicare for all.
Okay,
But he's mentioned something about he's doing the Jon Stewart again. He's talking about fixing the VA, but also talking about Medicare for all. Like, is it not for everyone? Is it Medicare for the troops aren't actually people? That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, wow. Don't let Swalwell hear you. He's still crouching in a corner, waiting for us to use the R word.
Yikes.
Okay, listen. The guy, though, who I think needs to go in here, okay, we're talking milquetoast, middle-of-the-road candidates that have, like, a quirky sensibility, you know?
Yeah, they have the thing that, like, sets them apart and gives them name recognition.
Yeah. Essentially, manic pixie wine mom personified, and I can't think of anyone else other than Pete Buttigieg. the guy who was like everyone's dream child after being an unknown and is now just has plateaued. He's an army veteran who speaks 7 languages, and he pontificates upon Ulysses, and he is basically every homeschool mom's wet dream, because they also think that him being happily married to his husband is just a phase. Like, he's a fucking nerd. Oh my god.
He's the kind of guy that I would start talking to in the gay bar, and then it's like, oh, this guy's cool. And then he keeps talking, and then he keeps talking, and then he keeps talking. You're like, bro, I'm just trying to I'm gonna get a drink. He's like, no, I'll get you a drink. And then he doesn't get you a drink. He just keeps talking.
That's right. You're like, shut the fuck up with those baby blue eyes and let's figure something out later.
His poor husband. Do they sit around and they like, do they read classic novels to each other at night?
Yes. I mean, I almost picture them as like Raymond Holt and his husband, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. His husband's like, I'm not just a piece of meat, you know. You can't objectify me in this way, Pete.
What would make you think that I'm objectifying you? I find solace and comfort in the quiet comfort of our friendship. The time that we spend together, I value it so much.
The dignity that comes with it. Listen, he's against Medicare for all. He's against free college, but he wants to lower the prices. Like some fucking going out of business sale, which, I mean, college may implode, so that's not really wrong.
Yeah.
He's also against UBI. The one thing that he has going for him is wanting to end gerrymandering and giving Puerto Rico and D.C. proper representation. And abolishing the Electoral College. Basically, he wants proper representation for people.
I think that that's not terrible. I think that that's not terrible in terms of goals for his presidency. If those are the goals for his presidency, those are like Obama goals. That's like, I have to like fix these 4 things, and as long as he focuses on that, then that's great. Is he actually going to do it? Have we ever seen a Democratic president actually take like a supermajority and do anything with it?
Absolutely not.
And he wants to like radically change the way that our country's run so that Trump can't happen again, but he's not making changes that would do that.
I don't see how adding 7 Supreme Court justices like he's possibly talking about could ever backfire in any way, as the Democrats keep their fucking urchins from a previous millennia somehow on the bench.
I mean, it happened before. It happened during the Andrew Jackson era, I think, was when there were like the most justices on the bench. And they just kept adding more and more. They're like, do you believe in abortion? Yes. Do you believe in abortion? Yes. Do you believe in abortion? Yes, we have a majority. And the next guy was like, all right, so we're going to free the slaves? And they're like, no. And he was like, all right, time to add more justices.
7 new judges says you might. I would love it if the Supreme Court became as populated as the House of Representatives. Like, it's just 1,000 people.
Can you imagine the amount of reading you'd have to do to get through like the dissent and the response?
It would be you know who would be the right man for it? Pete
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. That's right.
Holy shit!
All right, now we're moving on to the next section here.
All right,
okay.
now this
is mine. I'm taking control of this one. God damn it!
All right, now hang on.
This is
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw
is our progressive candidates.
Oh, well then fuck those people. Never mind.
This is Slytherin.
We're going Slytherin.
Okay.
All day, every day.
All right.
We're going with big dick energy. These are the candidates who they don't make any fucking sense whatsoever when you actually think about it for 2 seconds.
And I'm fucking
They're all
here for
absolutely insane. But I am so stoked to just watch this trash fire because hobos like me have to gather somewhere. So the first person I'm going to do is going to be arguably the most normal person, okay? It's my proposal to give you a baseline on this motherfucker, okay? And that is Governor John Hickenlooper, or I think his name is John. Yeah, there we go. This guy is a self-proclaimed centrist, so that kind of sounds boring, but he is the most purple dude you will ever encounter, meaning blue and red kind of mixed together. He's into weed. He's into background checks for guns, and he is into fracking. Like, to the point that the dude drank fucking fracking fluid to prove that it was safe.
We didn't see him for 3 months after that, but...
No, it's fine. It's fine. He can now see God. So... He's known as a pro-business moderate who's against monopolies, and he kept his state's unemployment number under 3%, which unemployment numbers don't matter because if you're working 3 jobs, have to afford the state of living, it doesn't really matter. But the guy had an insane amount of popularity in his state, in his situation, and he kind of levied that.
You just got to bring that energy to the international stage.
Yeah, he has zero knowledge of foreign policy. He has no idea what the fuck to do. He is the farmer president who like will get high.
As long as he's not like into protectionist policies, which
you bet he is.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't say that he's into protectionist policies, he'll win over the libertarians.
Oh, yes. No, he is the guy who I think libertarians, well, there's another candidate out there I think libertarians might be going after. But in this group, he has that, yeah, he has that quality to him.
Yeah, in terms of libertarians that would actually vote for a Democrat and aren't just voting for third party out of principle.
Yeah. So next up, who you got?
We're gonna throw Yang in this bitch.
Oh,
there's no way that we can just leave him hanging out for so long in this group, especially. This is where he belongs.
I thought we were gonna put him as a progressive.
Yeah, Yang is really into UBI.
Yep. And listing out policy proposals that are actually just like 4 sentences long.
Yeah.
It's not actual policy proposals.
It's policy proposal. It just works. UBI.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. That's very cool. So how does it work? He's the second venture capitalist that's coming in here. Like, they're really trying to... He's really trying to run on the Trump energy. He already has the memesters behind him.
Fucking Yang Gang. Kill me now.
The alt-right and the Zoomers. What else did he do before this?
If I remember correctly, he made his name by revitalizing urban centers in New Orleans and Detroit. Basically, kind of like quasi-gentrifying blocks at a time. And, I mean, much like everything else, he doesn't really have a whole lot of substance when you start digging underneath the surface. But he, like, really, really is trying to shake things up. And so, for all the, like, black-pilled motherfuckers out there, he's kind of viewed as, like, well, you know, it didn't work with Trump, but maybe this time. So,
Jesus. Is his revitalizing just a Portland style, like, bunch of street artists get together and go around and help businesses, like, repaint their fronts with a bunch of graffiti and...
Yeah, he truly is the $2 bill of candidates, where you're like, oh, wow, the novelty of him is worth more than the actual measurable metrics that he is.
How damaging would Yang be in office?
In office?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he is much more dangerous in a primary than anything, because his fan base is loyal. They do not split votes. Like Gillibrand, all of her supporters have 2 or 3 other people they would rather vote for, essentially, or they would be okay with voting for.
Yeah.
A lot of Yang Gang is Yang Gang or bust. So they may not be that large initially, but they could be large enough to help him survive the first couple rounds as things are getting split up. And so we may be dealing with him more as time goes on. It's like what happened with Trump. He didn't actually really start heating up until about the 1/3 of the way through.
Yeah, so, once you started kicking out like the first round, Rubio and Rubio lasted a while, but once you started kicking out everybody and everybody that was on the stage had name recognition nationally, that was when he started to be like sticking out and started saying the crazy shit.
Yep. So I can't wait for Yang to start saying crazy shit. Like, he already has some problematic tweets and stuff that are like mildly ethno-state-y, but you know, who doesn't probably in this group?
Who doesn't these days? Who hasn't said it on camera this week? Da, da, da.
You know who I think probably hasn't said it on camera this week?
Who?
My next pick, author Marianne Williamson, the unofficial mascot of the Chapo Trap House people. Because, you
Williamson
know,
or bust.
Yeah, that's right. Orb energy. Get with it, everybody. You know? That's what it's all about. She has some interesting ideas, like, you know, $500 billion for African American reparations, which is cool and good. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but she's essentially trying to wake up America the way she woke up Oprah, I guess.
Wake me up inside.
Wake me up. I'm sorry. Let me, can't wake up. There we go.
Man crying on stage.
They get me. All I wanted was to be in the Evanescence cover band.
Jesus. Thanks, Mary. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
So reparations.
Well, she also had this really interesting idea, and it's a cabinet level, opening a whole new department. And it's the Department of Childhood and Youth, which is basically the non-education parts that would be incorporated into the Department of Education. So all of the social stuff, all of the things that help with development and kind of stuff like that. That's where it gets a little hazy.
So that's kind of like universal pre-K slash mental
social
health
programs,
social and emotional learning programs.
Yes, specifically for 0 to 18.
Okay, that's interesting. I assume that's because that's her way of addressing like violence in the U.S. that has been escalating.
Yeah. I mean, then it goes in line with her whole Wake Up America. So
okay.
I think this is gonna basically be a PR stunt, ultimately. Getting name recognition. She'll get a cool book out of it. But if she gets popular enough, I wouldn't be surprised if someone adopts the idea of a Department of Childhood and Youth and then is willing to appoint her as the head of it for the first 2 to 4 years. Yeah. That could be a major shakeup. And so that's interesting.
Mary Ann Coulterson.
Oh my God. Oh no. Okay, you pick now. Dear God.
You didn't like that one, did you?
No, I did not.
I'm just gonna keep swinging big names around because I like it. Joe Biden goes in this group. Joe
Yeah, I
Biden
guess.
is not in our House Ravenclaw.
Fucking drunk Uncle Energy McGee over here.
Yeah, even more drunk Uncle Energy than O'Rourke, surprisingly, which is why he's in this group.
I mean that's
if his most recent video didn't turn him off enough for you, just know that he has spent 36 years in office as a problematic shitlib boomer fuck that hasn't done anything. No matter how much he claims to have done, no matter who he says that he hung out with, they're all fucking lies, and the stuff that he has done, he doesn't want you to remember. His crime bill that he still defends to this day, his anti-rave policy.
That's right.
Which I take particular issue with.
He keeps on really pushing the idea of like, oh, hey, I have a whole bunch of foreign policy experience, which he does. When it comes to getting involved in killing foreign children, he is the guy. He is the biggest imperialist next to Kissinger, basically. I mean, we don't have to spend too much time on him.
Yeah, he has all the same Democrat policies everybody else has.
The thing people need to know as of right now, whether we like it or not, he is polling at over 35%. So, as we're going through all these names, an average would be 5%. If you're below that, got bad news for you. If you're above that, maybe you could start consolidating. But him being at 30% is brutal. That is an uphill battle to have to climb. So,
as much as we don't believe in polling anymore after Trump became president, like, it's still indicative of something, I think. At least how people feel. Maybe not the people that are voting, but it's how someone feels about him. So.
Oh, yeah, and this is all going into the first debate.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we want you guys to be listening, and hopefully you still are at this point, everything is going to be changing month by month, week by week, debate by debate.
Press appearance by press appearance.
Right. Good Lord.
It's black men. Who is... I don't know why I said that. It's actually Mexicans. Oh, that's bad too? Well, god damn it.
Not gonna let any boo.
Joe, no, stop.
Yeah. Red-blooded Americans. How about Reds?
Jesus Christ, Mr. Biden.
Imagine Biden without the baggage, and imagine a Biden who is really hardcore. Maybe instead of into imperialism, he was into green energy. And that's Washington Governor Jay Inslee, who has really pitched himself as the first climate president.
Even though he's the first climate president, or he wants to be the big climate president, he wants to be Al Gore for 2020. He's still against nuclear energy, so I cannot condone any support for this man's.
That's right. He needs to include that. The second he does, we expect to get his campaign logo tattooed on our chest. That's right. He wants all clean electric cars, vehicles, and buildings by 2030. He wants to create something called the Evergreen Economy Plan for $3 trillion that would then bring 8 million jobs into the United States. He is a really big advocate of the Green New Deal, so he's riding that quasi-AOC wave, and he's bringing legitimacy to that movement. So,
is Jay Inslee happen to look like Elon Musk with a mustache on?
Oh man! Don't speak that evil to it.
No,
good Lord.
Interesting.
But yeah,
I like the energy that he brings. Haha, even though it's not nuclear.
That's right. So, who we got left? Huh?
We have 5 candidates left, and they all go into Ravenclaw.
Okay. Go Ravens. Go Claws.
So, what are our 5 remaining candidates?
Well, I mean, we got to go with the clear front runner here, Julian Castro. Like, we got to.
You know what? I'm taking this back away from you. Just go fuck yourself for a second. The clear front runner is Warren.
The reason Castro is going to be winning the nomination is because sorry, just go.
Oh, so I see who you're going to be voting for in this bracket. Yeah, I think Sanders is the front runner here because of name recognition, but I think that right now Elizabeth Warren has more clout.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, let's just go over Sanders real quick.
Okay.
We know about him. We all know what he wants. Medicare for all, fantastic.
He's been saying it for
$15
4 years.
wage, fantastic. The entire party is starting to co-opt all of his ideology, water it down, and centrify it. That's not good by any means, but he needs to start to do something that truly sets him apart. He needs to be pushing anti-imperialism like Gabbard. He needs to be, I don't know, taking DNA tests to prove how Polish he is, like Warren, or something,
Look at that! I'm 2% Polish!
I'm 2% New Yorker. Why do I have this accent?
All New Yorkers sound the same to me.
Yeah, that's right. Suddenly an Italian restaurant pops up in the middle of the debate stage.
Just drops his thing.
Garlic bread, full service, an extensive wine menu, everything we could ask for.
Oh,
okay,
beautiful.
But
I'm for it. So we know Sanders,
yeah.
He sounds, $15 isn't going to be enough by the time he's voted into office. Like,
yeah, but
inflation is so bad that $15 will be pointless. They'll give us $15 by the time Sanders gets into office because they're like, yeah, no, we can afford that now because we've pumped so much money into the economy that now $15 has the buying power that $8 did 6 years ago. He
wants free education, so as well. But again, we know. So let's move on. Next person. Who are you nominating?
Elizabeth Warren. We'll hit on her too. She's mine.
Okay.
The number 2. Her big thing is her tax. She wants to do the ultra millionaire tax.
Yeah.
Other than that, she has a lot of stuff that she's proposed. She
has so many actual policy issues.
I think Red Scare described her as the teacher candidate. She's the professional managerial class candidate, the thinking person's candidate. Yeah. So it's interesting. Is it gonna happen? Is she gonna make it happen? Would she be better as a VP to a front runner like Castro?
Oh, yeah. We'll see. She also wants to break up the tech giants, which I think is important. I mean, Hickenlooper wants to break up monopolies, but he's very fuzzy about what monopolies are. Warren is just straight out calling for blood and heads right now when it comes to all of these.
What are monopolies really?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to sell Disney stock to everyone, and we're going to divide the body parts of every CEO.
Hickenlooper is just against monopolies because then when Biden's leading at 86%, he can say that Biden needs to be canceled because he has a monopoly on the debate stage.
That is a long con that I am here for.
Yeah, that's right. Come on, Hickenlooper.
If any of these candidates do this, I will personally fly myself out to a debate and cheer them on.
No. We don't have the budget in the podcast allotment for it. We are currently losing $15 a month because Podbean is costing us money. Okay, so the next person I'm going to nominate, and I know this sounds really stupid, but I just want to mention it because I think it's actually important, would be Julian Castro. I mean, the guy isn't anyone's number one. I understand that, but he is pushing the people first policy, hardlining on immigration and education reform. Immigration is something that I think will be very key, especially coming from a Latinx individual like himself. He's running to get the name recognition and probably go into a cabinet position, probably the same one that he was under with Obama as a housing secretary. Mm-hmm. He's pushing for universal pre-K, like everyone else, and tuition-free college, like most people. And the most important thing, though, is that he wants to reclassify illegal entry into the United States as a civil infraction, as opposed to an outright felony or something more serious. And he wants to provide then a clear path to citizenship for all undocumented workers on the inside.
I assume that means overhauling the entire citizenship application process.
Correct. Yes,
which would be great.
Absolutely.
He's a better Cory Booker.
Yes, all of these, not all, I shouldn't say all, that's overgeneralizing. Most of these candidates, when it all gets boiled down, they have one good idea that is theirs, and then they're kind of winging it for the rest. It's about who can amass the most and form the best team as the race continues on.
And you know what's funny is all of them are taking their talking points from Sanders 2016.
Yeah, they really are. All of them are now talking about either how they can appeal across the aisle because they're purple as hell, or they're progressive as hell. So we have purple versus progressive, I guess.
Yeah, I don't want to say that I'm currently losing my mind because I've been reading up on how capitalism takes over everything and how it takes the things that we want, that we use to fight it, it eats it, it spits it back out as something. We know that the root cause of a lot of the issues are capitalism, but
it's all very bad.
The tools that we came up with to fight it, it's already absorbed it, and it's about to spit it back out at us. And it's like, that's what you want, isn't it? It's like,
it gave us. We put a progressive, policy-minded, law-focused professor type into the machine in Obama, and then spit out through capitalism, former punk rocker and musician and professional skateboarder and table stander Beto O'Rourke. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
thanks, capitalism. This is exactly what we wanted. We wanted a white guy.
Well, I mean, historically speaking, apparently what the Dems want.
Yikes. Oh, it's a white guy who has, like, drunk uncle energy and is willing to bring that energy to the table.
That's
literally
right.
To, on top of, over the table.
Inside, all up in the guts of.
Yeah, your great aunt.
I mean, O'Rourke has now, after going through a campaign reboot that I know we've talked about on official episodes, he's now really focusing on climate change and to a lesser extent immigration. He wants to spend $1.5 trillion by 2050 to get to zero net emissions or net zero emissions, but no mention of nuclear.
Again, the first nuclear candidate is going to have me naked on that stage. I'm going to fucking streak through that debate hall on national television.
He supports that universal health care plan, not that's actual universal health care.
That's the one that's below Medicare.
Comcast health care.
Yeah, the spectrum energy. That's why he's not in the big dick energy.
Big spectrum energy. He wants to keep the private sector, though, with all of the healthcare talk. As ridiculous as that is, or at least we think so, people are scared, like, oh no, oh man, I like my doctor, and I like the fact that I keep on getting overcharged. Okay, Zach, we have one candidate left. And again, because I'm such a good feminist, I let you be able to present this woman. Because that's also feminism. When one man presents another man with a woman, right?
Representative Tulsi Gabbard. The veteran representative from Hawaii, who is pretty much the answer to Yang.
Yeah, I mean, if Yang is picking up on Trump's energy, Gabbard is clearly channeling Ron Paul, who Ron Paul actually called her the best Democratic candidate.
Well, that's not good for my support for her.
No.
But she is very pro-life. Also not good for my support for her.
No. She was raised in a pro-life, anti-LGBTQ Hindu yoga semi-cult. That is a mouthful. That is a T-shirt. That's a lot of things being thrown at me.
So she was raised. How did she turn out?
Well, she's pro-Israel. I need a yay or a boo, okay?
Okay.
She's pro-Israel.
Boo.
Pro-weed.
Yay.
Pro-billionaire.
Boo.
Anti-imperialism.
Yay.
And pro-Assad.
I'm gonna abstain. I'm not sure the official podcast position on Assad. I think the only reason that we liked him for a little bit was because someone was threatening to like invade his country, and we didn't like that.
Yeah, and then it turns out he was invading his own country, basically.
And then
barrel bombs are awful.
We don't know what's happening.
She has no exact policy proposals, but I mean, based on her record, she's going to focus on like criminal justice reform, climate change, and something like universal health care, possibly even going all the way up to Bernie's level of Medicare for all.
If Ron Paul likes her, that means that she's going to be the ANCAP to our ANCOM stuff, where it's like, yeah, we both think that violence from the government is wrong, that authority shouldn't be centralized, that we should decentralize a lot of this. When all of that happens, we'll exist in a freer market, and that that businesses will solve all these problems for us. So it's very good that someone is keeping the Ron Paul energy alive in our electoral system.
Yeah.
So that's it for all the candidates.
Yeah, let's do a breakdown here. Progressives, we got Sanders, Warren, O'Rourke, Gabbard, and Castro. For corporate, who do we have?
We have Buttigieg, Gillibrand, Harris, Booker, Ryan. Big Dick Energy?
Hickenlooper, Inslee, Yang, Williamson, and Biden.
And then the shit libs, Klobuchar, Swalwell, Delaney, Bennett, de Blasio.
Yay! Okay, so we're going to need to pick two out of each group, okay?
Okay.
Let's just go with, I guess, the spoiler group. Of all of them, Klobuchar, Swalwell, Delaney, Bennett, and de Blasio. Klobuchar and Bennett, just fuck it. Why not? Someone's got to come out of that heat.
Yeah, Bennett has already made waves for the most part.
Yeah.
So he has the most. I guess he has the most clout, even if it's not good clout. And Klobuchar is the least offensive.
Next category. Which one do you want to tackle?
I guess it's gonna be. We'll just go Big Dick Energy.
Okay.
Biden is gonna make it out for sure.
Jesus.
What's your over under on Yang?
Listen, the more we talk about him, the more I get scared. And like, as much as I want Inslee and Hickenlooper to go in, and as much as I think it would be cool if Marianne Williamson trying to sell a goddamn book ends up rising up through the ranks, I really think that Yang probably is the one who pushes forward.
I think it's interesting that they're trying to sell us a Democratic Trump.
Yeah.
I think that in a proper world, Inslee comes out of that one because he's the Al Gore, he's the climate president, and he would get a lot of the Green Party voters to start standing him.
That's an intriguing voter base. Yeah.
Yeah. It's either him or Warren.
So who are we going with? Are we going with Inslee or are we going with Yang?
Let's assume that Yang doesn't take off. Let's assume that the memesters
we'll
they don't
readjust.
catch the alt-right memesters, and so he loses a big chunk of the people that would have supported his Trump energy.
Yes, because 16-year-olds on the internet can't vote, but a bunch of 46-year-old Green Party people can vote as Democrats.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay, I can get with that. So, in the next lineup, then we have Inslee, Biden, Klobuchar, and Bennett. Oh, God. Too good, too bad. Oh,
well. Which one's the good one and which one's the bad one? You'll never fucking know.
So
next is the corporate column.
Okay.
Booker Ryan.
What's the full listing?
It's Buttigieg, Gillibrand, Harris, Booker, Ryan.
Booker and Ryan knock each other out, really. I mean, it's just more of the same.
Not that's
I
true.
think.
Well, they're both Medicare for all. They're both... Yeah, they're both, like, proto-Obamas. I guess
They
not
they
proto.
both want to be riding those coattails.
Yeah, and that's not the
I
energy
think-
we need because of the rest of the candidates in the race, I think. I think that'll knock them out for sure.
I think Harris is probably going to emerge victorious.
Okay.
Just because in between Buttigieg, Gillibrand, and her, Harris steals the crown.
Yeah.
And then I think Gillibrand versus Buttigieg.
Buttigieg has a better
Buttigieg-
quirk.
Yeah, he has that wholesomeness thing. And Gillibrand's base is so okay with other people being in charge instead of her. She has the lowest candidate versus Trump success probability.
Yeah.
Among her supporters. Among her supporters, only 14% of them think she can beat Trump.
Ooh, wow.
What the fuck does that even mean? So yeah,
I don't know.
I would go with Buttigieg.
My politics are so milquetoast that I don't even think that I can win. Yikes.
Yep.
I don't mind Buttigieg as a candidate. I like seeing a gay white dude running for president.
Finally,
makes me feel good. I'm not saying that I'm the one that should be catered to. I'm just saying it makes me feel good.
That's right.
And I'm, it's between Buttigieg and Warren. I find intellectual stimulation and lots of like talking points. Even if we're not talking about anything, we're just staying at the library super late, just like
The most
talking for no
insufferable.
reason. Yeah, me coming to turn up the party late, like, hey guys, what's going on? Like, what were you doing, Zach? I was fucking just studying. Like, nothing. I wasn't nothing. Shut up and give me a beer. What are you?
I had a 7-hour conversation with Pete Buttigieg about book binding and how it relates to guitar strings. Well, no, you get it. It's actually pretty fascinating because... Yeah, shut the fuck up. Okay, progressives. We got Sanders, Warren, O'Rourke, Gabbard, and Castro.
Sanders and Warren have the best clout right now. Unless Castro like bodies Warren, unless O'Rourke bodies Sanders.
Yeah. Okay, here's what I think with them, and I want to get your feeling on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
O'Rourke and Castro are going to knock each other out, much in the same way that Booker and Ryan will, right? As of right now.
I don't really have anything particular against the idea. I guess so, because Castro is running like that same kind of like, we want to help the people that Beto is running. Unless Beto changes his message a lot to more directly attack Warren or Sanders, then yeah, they'll end up knocking each other out.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then I think Sanders and Warren are battling. Now, they're polling high enough that whoever comes out victorious among the two of them will for sure come up. And I think as of right now, that's Warren.
Yeah.
Now, I understand Bernie bros, okay? I get it. I'm one of you, all right? I love Sanders. Sanders only ran in 2016 because Warren was choosing not to run in 2016. He's only on this stage right now because of Warren's inaction, which is not a credit to her. But as of right now, how it stands currently, I think that Warren has a broader appeal and she will win. Not who should win, but who I think, will have the polling numbers and whose base will not get cannibalized. And I think that's going to be Warren.
Yep.
So now, Zach, here is my question. Do you think a cannibalized Bernie base is enough and still strong enough to defeat a somewhat supercharged, not supercharged, I guess. It's certainly enough to defeat a split O'Rourke and a split Castro base.
Yeah.
But do you think it's enough to top Gabbard?
Yes.
Depending on how much energy she brings.
It depends on where the militia type voters fall. because
That's
that's
and we'll know more after the first debate.
yeah. I think that it's enough to beat Gabbard because I think Gabbard is too much of a wild card. She and Yang have like are channeling the the fucking energy, man. I think it's too early to tell. I think right now she's too much of a wild card.
Do you think that there's going to be any form of like a yellow fear race baiting with Gabbard and Yang?
Oof.
Like, I mean, the Asian continent as a whole.
The Yang memers are like, we can't let this man disrespect our beautiful white woman. He's trying to erase whites.
Our queen.
Fuck.
I mean, I guess that would be Sanders. But again, that's why heats are more fascinating to me than March Madness brackets, because it's not just 1v1.
Yeah,
you have to look at it based on the whole. Yeah.
Yeah, I still think that Sanders Warren have the most.
Okay.
Have the
yeah,
most
that's
clout,
fine.
Have the most clout currently, unless we get reminded, unless Sanders goes and takes a DNA test, or Warren takes another one because she says that the first one was faulty.
Yeah, that's right. So Sanders, Warren, Buttigieg, and Harris. Then we have Inslee, Biden, Klobuchar, and Bennett.
Yep.
Okay, so now we just got to pick 4, essentially.
2 from each column.
Yeah.
Biden.
Yeah, Biden from one, Warren from the other. I mean, Warren certainly has enough to beat Sanders before.
Yeah,
and
I think that's
enough of a different base than Harris or Buttigieg.
Yeah, I think that's true. So
then
Klobuchar.
No, come on now. She
nobody else.
She's
nobody
too
else
small.
in here. Nobody else in here has that like small campaign like grassroots energy though.
Yeah, that's right. If only there was a candidate that had a largely grassroots movement that was taking the world
if Warren
by
beats
storm.
Sanders, where are the rest of them gonna go?
That's true. They're certainly not going to go to Klobuchar. They might go green, and if that's the case, they would go with Inslee.
Oh, that's true.
Like
Okay.
he might do better with less candidates surrounding him
Because he's the very green candidate, and so he can really focus on his. It'll be Buttigieg versus Buttigieg versus Inslee then to see who has the better base for their.
Yeah, right.
Jesus.
And then I think that Harris beats the split Sanders base, and I think she just on a debate stage, using her DA abilities, probably comes out on top over Buttigieg.
Honestly,
she's a woman of color.
I want to say that between Warren, Buttigieg, and Harris, it'll probably end up going to Warren and Harris because Buttigieg will just sound long-winded.
Yeah, that's right. There's only so many comparisons to the Iliad you can do in a speech that asks, who's your favorite politician?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so now we have our top 4. Harris, Biden, Warren, and Inslee. AKA...
None of these are good options.
No, I mean, welcome to politics. I mean, the thing that I'm now seeing, unfortunately, is that if Biden has survived this long, he'll probably get the presidential nomination. Harris will then probably become VP or, again, Secretary General. Warren might get shoveled off into being Secretary of Education.
Or Department of Energy.
No, that's Inslee. Inslee is Department of Energy.
Ah.
And suddenly now he has his little cabinet around him.
Oh God, Biden reaches back and picks up Michael Bennett as his VP.
You know what? I bet you he would. He would pull some ridiculous shit like that when it should be Harris or Gabbard or even, I hate to say this, Yang or something like that. Gabbard knows.
Buttigieg would be a great running mate for him too. He would make him look really good.
It needs to be someone who knows what Congress is like. So
that's true.
It needs to be someone from the Senate, which is why Bennett would make sense. Unfortunately, Harris makes the most sense, but
Harris does make the most
she
sense.
may want to just be separate enough for another potential run later.
Attorney General.
Yeah.
He could pick up Cory Booker too.
Yeah. God.
If they wanted to do the full like, this is my black friend.
He would.
But now they would because they're fighting now. Then they would like make up, and Cory Booker would be like, I support this man, and then 2 days later it'd be like, Cory Booker's my vice president.
That's right. That'd be what would happen. Well, everyone, it ended unfortunately in a way that seemed inevitable.
Our calculations were off. The algorithm, it must be wrong.
Yeah, it has to be wrong. So we'll see. So the people that we think that will probably shine in this debate would be Harris, Biden, Warren, and Inslee. In terms of solidifying bases. In terms of rising stars, we're looking at Gabbard. We're looking at Yang. We're looking at maybe Castro as well.
We're looking at Buttigieg for sure.
Yeah, specifically looking at Buttigieg. And then that's pretty much it. So
if those people do well, really get into it with the candidates whose policy positions they're most similar to, and they can flip those voters to their side, then we'll come back and we'll say, they did it. Our bracket was not perfect, but we did it. So
we're not gonna do something like this though until it gets down to like 16 at least. This is an ordeal. I don't know. Zach is gonna be doing the editing on this podcast, so who knows how long this will be. It'll turn out to be just a 20-minute episode. But in real world time, we've been going at this for almost an hour and 45 minutes. So
yeah. So as soon as one person drops out and there are 19 candidates left, you bet your ass I'm going to get Kelton back on.
Oh my
We're
God.
going to do this whole thing again.
Oh my God. Oh no.
We're going to have 5 heats and only one of them's going to have 3 candidates. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Oh,
Kelton,
absolutely.
and recording
I
with me.
love doing this. So
Yeah. I certainly hope that we can do another episode soon. I'll see if I can fit you in between the, just my packed calendar of guests that I have scheduled out for the next 3 years at least.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm really excited to be on the pilot episode of this, so to speak. See what all is going to be happening. Email us, psychicdolphinggarage@gmail.com. That's important. Give us a call. Give us feedback. 512-402-2089.
Send us an email. Send us a voicemail. Message the page. We want to hear your thoughts on our thoughts. Because what is the true essence of podcasting if not hearing from our fans and having them yell at us online? This has been a fun format for the pilot. I hope that I come up with ideas that are as inspired as this, and definitely don't have to steal them from Kelton. I hope that maybe I'll be able to bring you something in the future that is a little more serious. We can talk to local activists. We can talk to local professors. We can talk to people that are slightly more active than ourselves in our political system. People that are better networked than we are, but people that need our clout to get their message out. Even though there are podcasts out there that are more entertaining, more informative, and more importantly, shorter than ours. So thank you for listening again, and keep an eye out for our next 15 Million Flowers segment, as we do hope to have a new guest soon. I would let Kelton sign off, but since it's my podcast, I'm just going to wish y'all a blessed day.